We're about to go see if we could find the alligators. I'm going to show you where the alligators are because I want you to understand that alligators in Louisiana aren't just for entertainment purposes, but they are a way of life, and that includes how criminals do and don't do crime near and around the bayou. Don't worry, stick around. I'll explain exactly what I mean as we continue on in this video. But for now, we're heading to spot some alligators. Pumping station area. When I was a kid, this is where we used to walk and run all day long looking for alligators. I'm trespassing to try to get to the alligators. If you can look in that bayou, and I'm sure somebody might run me off, but I'm gonna stay here as long as I can to get this video. We used to walk along them rivers and swim in these bayous by them trees. And we're literally right here where this pumping station is. This pumping station was here when I was a kid. Now you see the pumping station. But on the other side of that flood wall, that's where the alligators were that we swam with. I'm gonna see if I can get through that flood wall. When we were growing up as kids, security in the world wasn't as serious as it is now. And we used to be able to walk along these levees with no problem. Look at that water in the distance. Let me show you. Yep, we would catch alligators, water moccasins, copperheads, and rattlesnakes all up in these waters, full of alligators and snakes. And we didn't care. You know, we'd walk these levees all day long. We would travel through these neighborhoods that we grew up in, you know what I mean, in the back of Marrero, and we would fish and look for turtles and look for snakes and whatever else we could find. And we would come in and out of this gate right here, but that's before they had all them trucks over there. I'm gonna go see if I can sneak in through the old school back way, going through the neighborhood, Mount Kennedy. If you know, you know. The gate's open. Let's see if we can get in here. Let's see if this dude's gonna give us a hard problem or not. Let's try. We might get in all kind of trouble. There's the truck. He ain't doing his job anyway. You know, right on the other side of that gate is where I was forced to swim with alligators. And we also swam with alligators by choice. There it is right there, that bayou. That's where I used to swim with alligators at. You can see how beautiful it is. And I got armed robbed right here. There used to be pumping station right here. You can see the pumping station down there. And I got armed robbed while right here. And I'm gonna tell y'all the story. But I wanted to have some footage on exactly where this was. There it is right there. There it is. That's the spot, y'all. I haven't been back here since I've been a teenager. That is where we were swimming, and the alligators got real deep one day and they were everywhere, and we were swimming, so we decided to get out the water. And then a handful of dudes came from the hood up the road, which we live right by, and they gave us an ultimatum: get robbed or swim with the alligators or get shot. This is it, y'all. This is where I'm at. I don't know if the security is going to come move me away from here, but when we were kids, we didn't care about security. They didn't have this flood wall that's behind me right here. See that flood wall? And we would come here fishing and swimming with alligators, and we catch alligators all day. It looks a lot different from when I was a kid, you know, but this is literally where we were swimming, and we were right here, and we were in the water, and they had a bunch of big alligators that came. And when the big alligators came, we got out of the water and we were getting dressed, because, you know, we were just in our shorts, and some dudes came up with pistols right here behind me. And this flood wall wasn't here. It was just the pipes and a levee. We were putting our clothes back on, you know, from our shirts and everything. And they walked up with pistols, and they pulled out the pistols and said, "Hey, look, my friend had a brand new pair of Jordans. He's no longer with us now." They took his Air Jordans. Another friend had a gold chain, and I had a hat. They took my Nike hat or whatever. And they said, "Get back in the water, we're gonna shoot y'all." And the gators were everywhere, because that's why we got out. The gators were starting to come. And we got back in that water with the gators as opposed to get shot. We knew people who got shot, but we didn't know no one at the moment who had been eaten by a gator. That's what happened. This is a pumping station. We would jump off of this into the water, very dangerous. But we were kids, and we didn't care too much. Just because you don't see any alligators don't mean they're not there. Promise you that there are alligators right there. All behind me was the levees where people would dump, supposedly, bodies, or they would hide stuff like narcotics in these swamps. You can see it goes all the way back, and it connects these neighborhoods all throughout the West Bank of New Orleans. And behind me, you can see it. This was some wild stuff, man. Alligators, gangsters, and crime. Bayou crime and bayou gangsters just hit different, as you can see, because we were surrounded by water, trees, swamp, and projects and hoods. That's just the way it is. It all connects. So somehow or another, it was all part of our daily life. It didn't matter if you was white or black. It's somehow connected. We all grew up in the same neighborhoods over here on the West Bank of New Orleans. As you can see, I traveled behind me, those levees. I got in many fist fights on these levees because we would travel, one neighborhood from the other would travel these levees, and we would run into each other and we would fight and we would swim with alligators. And people think it's crazy when you tell them that, but that's the reality. Crazy that you would get armed robbed by somebody with your gold chain. You had your friend with his gold chain and your other friend with his Michael Jordans on. This is back in the early days when the first Air Jordans came out in the 80s. And put the pistol on you, say swim with the alligators or get shot. Well, we jumped back in that bayou back there where them pumps were I showed you. We got in that water and we lived to tell another day. I'm still here. I know one of my friends, it was 3 of us, he's gone. I don't know if the other guy is still alive or not, but I was able to get back here. I've been trying to come back here so I can do this video for y'all, and I finally did, so I'm glad I did. And it made me think about it because in Africa, a man got eaten by an alligator, or should I say a crocodile, and they found the crocodile, and they had to literally get airlifted into the, I say bayou down here, but over there it's the waterway, you know, the Nile or whatever it is, and they had to get the crocodile out, and they're gonna cut the crocodile open. That's a thumbnail you saw to see if he was in there, and it made me think, hey, look, let me go try back here and see if I can get this footage of y'all to show y'all where I got armed robbed and given the ultimatum to get shot or get in the water with the alligators while our armed robbers, our assailants, escaped down the levee on foot. We watched them. Once they got, 100 yards up, we got out the water. The alligators never did mess with us, but we could see them. And when they go underwater, that's when you get nervous. As long as you could see them, even as teenage kids swimming in these bayous behind me, we always felt okay. But it was when they went underwater that we got real, real nervous, y'all. And that's what happened that day. Memories, huh? All right, we didn't find no alligators, but we're gonna go to another spot where I think I can find some alligators. We're on a quest to find an alligator. So as you can see, as I'm driving through this neighborhood, we were young thugs, young criminals, and we were fools, and we did a lot of stuff in life that we shouldn't have did. And a lot of these houses, when I say a lot of them, but a bunch of these houses we would break into and we would steal the stuff, and we would go back there where the alligators were, and we would stash the VCRs and the TVs. And back then, VCRs and TVs were a big deal. And we'd stash them in those woods until we can get a ride, a vehicle, or somebody came with another stolen car, and then we would take it to the Fisher Projects, and that's where we would sell the stuff that we burglarized people's houses from. And we went to jail, and honestly, I don't think they sent us to jail long enough. So I'm blessed to be able to be here to tell my story, because the stuff we did was criminal and it was wrong, and I really regret doing it. But it's part of my story, part of who I was growing up with, being misled and going into those bayous. That's the algae that's sitting on top of the water. So when we were young and we would come back here to go swimming, we always had to have a guinea pig, a crash test dummy. We would always pick one person that would jump in the water first to make sure there was nothing dangerous in the water, such as alligators or giant snapping turtles or garfish that could bite you. And so one person would jump in and then spread that algae out. Once that algae was spread out, we could see what was there, and we'd all start jumping in, and that algae would clear out the way. We were in the reptiles world, and when we traveled into the reptiles world, the best thing that we could do was respect the alligator. As you can see down this trail, many times when we were kids, we'd walk up and down these trails, and that algae would be on top of the water, and we'd be fishing, and we knew we had to be careful because they were watching us, even if we couldn't watch them. This is a picture of me and my brother, and I wanted to bring this up because, one, I love my brother and I miss him. As you know, if you've been watching the Pen and The Shank for any amount of time, he passed away due to fentanyl overdose, and it, left a void in my life. He was the only sibling that I had. And I remember when he caught this alligator right here. I wasn't, with him when he pulled it out the water, but I was with him after he got the alligator. And I remember thinking to myself, Matt, why'd you go mess with this alligator? Because he just tended to do foolish things like that. And he just felt like catching the alligator for no other reason than catching the alligator. And we drove him further up the bayou away from the homes because my parents lived on the water, and a lot of the kids and pets swam in the water and fished in the water. So we would move alligators often that worked their ways into the waterways where the houses were. And so we taped his mouth shut and we drove him up the bayou and we released him. But there were times when we had to, unfortunately, kill alligators, especially if they were too large to move. And a pet might have came up missing, or kids might have been swimming in the water, during that part of the summer. Often the guys who lived in the back by the houses would shoot the alligators and kill them. But the one thing they would usually do is skin it, cook it, clean it, and eat it. And it tastes good. You never had alligator? It tastes good if you know how to cook it. So unfortunately, some of the alligators had to lose their lives. But for the most part, down here in the South, we live in peace and conjunction with the alligators. But that's all I want to do, was just show a little respect and show you me and my brother right here. Just spotted an alligator, second one since we've been alligator hunting for our new video, and we're gonna go pull right up on him, and I'm gonna see. He's a big one. The other one I showed you, he wasn't up but a little 5-footer. This one looks like he's about 7 to 8 feet. So let's go check him out. There he is right there in the distance. I'm gonna try to zoom in before I get out because I don't know if he's gonna get spooked when I go over there. He is right there. I'm gonna put an arrow on him. Look, you see him moving? He's gone in the water. He sees I've been spotted. He's big. Yep, he's about to disappear. Look at his face. Look at that bad boy right there. There he is. See, when they put that pistol on us and told us you want to face the gator or face us, we were facing a bullet or we were facing teeth. And that's a reality down here in southern Louisiana. When I say that crime, criminals, and alligators go hand in hand, I mean it. I got stories of dudes saying they fed their victims to gators. There he is right there. There he is. I'm gonna see if I can. He's probably gonna get spooked that I'm walking close to him. There he is right there. Is he gonna move? Then I'll walk closer to him. Come on, big boy. I seen you there. He is wanting to move. So, yep, I'm getting him. Let's see if I can go a little further down. I don't want to get no fleas. You see, I'm worried about that, but I'm not worried about him. I'm not worried about the fleas. There we go, a little bit closer. There he is, right there. He's swimming now. He's coming to check me out. See, when they go underwater, that's when you got to worry. Oh, he's coming over here because he's hungry. He thinks I'm going to get close to that water. He's coming straight at me. He is coming straight at me. Watch how close I get to the water. He's going to try to get closer to me. I'm going to show y'all how close I am to the water real quick. There's the bank. I'm going to do a zoom around. There he is in the distance behind me. You see him moving? Oh, he's coming toward me. Look at him. Right there. I'll put an arrow. He's coming toward me. The further I get down, look, if I walk down further, he's coming closer. He thinks I'm going to start splashing that water. I'm his next meal. And so this is what we dealt with when the dudes told us, you want to get hit by the alligator or you want to go and get shot by the bullet? Well, we jumped in the water. This bad boy is ready. There he is right there. He's watching me. And he's ever so inching closer as I get closer to the water. So we came looking for gators, and this is the second one, but this one's big. The first one was the type that we jumped in the water with and just wrestled with all the time. But this big bad boy right here, he can do damage. There he is, watching me. daring me to get too close and start splashing. See, as long as you can see them, you're good. It's when it drops below that water line, that's when you gotta be worried. That's when you gotta be worried. They got patience. Oh, he's moving now. There he is. There he is. There he is. Watching me. He's watching me close. Look how big them rocks are to put him in perspective. And rocks above me. I'll show y'all how close I am to the water now. That's a picture of me right here, obviously. And he's back there somewhere. And that's how close I am to the water. And you see him right on the other side of the canal. But see, I've been around alligators a long time. I respect them. I ain't stupid. So as long as I can see them, I'm all right. And I can still see them through this video, through the screen. Obviously, I lived to see another day, and the gator did not take me underwater to make me his last meal. Because if he would have took me, I'm sure every time, just like that guy in Africa, like the picture I showed, where they had to airlift in and get the crocodile, somebody would have went and shot that alligator if he would have ate me or anybody else. When alligators or crocodiles become man-eaters, usually local authorities can find them, or the local people in the neighborhood can find them. They'll kill the animal and, get the human remains out so that people can still bury their loved one that was chewed up by an alligator. Alligators don't chew, they just swallow and digest. But I'm here to tell another day, obviously, and I've been around alligators my entire life, and I haven't been harmed by one to this point. I don't plan on being harmed by one ever. I hope you enjoyed the video and the story to where we were armed robbed and given the ultimatum to get in the bayou or catch a bullet. If that would have been you, would you have taken the bullet or taken the chance in the bayou with the gator? I felt like, and even though we were like 14 years old, we felt like the best chance was in the bayou with the gators, and I think we made the right choice. Them dudes who probably armed robbed us are probably doing life in prison, or maybe they got by the skin of their teeth like I did, and they're actually living a good life. Who knows? But here it is, and here I am. But I'm very interested. Would you take a chance with an alligator or take a chance with a pow, pow, pow? Let's get it. Comment.